Topic: Social empowerment, communalism, regionalism, and secularism. 1. India needs a comprehensive law to deal with honor killing. Critically examine. 250 words. The Hindu. Why this question? The question must discuss the social evil of honor killing and need for comprehensive law to tackle the same. Key demand of the question. One must discuss in detail the need for comprehensive law for honor killing. Directive. Critically examine. When asked to examine, we have to look into the topic content words in detail, inspect it, investigate it, and establish the key facts and issues related to the topic in question. While doing so, we should explain why these facts and issues are important and their implications. When critically is suffixed or prefixed to a directive, one needs to look at the good and bad of the topic and give a fair judgment. Structure of the answer. Introduction. Explain in brief honor killing as a social evil in the country. Body. Explain that in India, honor killings take place if a couple marries outside their caste or religion. Khap panchayats also oppose and mete out punishments to couples who marry within the same gotra, lineage, or transgress other societal norms. The Supreme Court, in 2006, ruled that inter-caste marriages are in fact in the national interest as they will result in destroying the caste system. Explain that we have the law, but unfortunately, the system doesn't function properly. We need a special law that specifies what needs to be looked at during the investigation and prosecution of an honor killing case and that it is not tried broadly as a murder. There need to be detailed examinations, the forensic evidence needs to be collected keeping the motive of honor killing in mind and so on. They need to check what preceded the murder. Discuss then the need for laws in place to tackle with such evils. Conclusion. Conclude with need for urgency of stringent laws to handle honor killing in the country. Introduction. The term honor killing is being used widely to describe the class of murders that family members commit while seeking to impose on young couples their medieval view that all marriages should be within their community. The use of murderous violence in the face of imagined threats to family or community honor is an unfortunate reality in most parts of the country. Body. Causative factors. The incidences of honor killing are common in the northern states of India such as Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. Honor killing also widespread in South Indian states and the western Indian states of Maharashtra and Gujarat. The basic reason behind honor killings is the idea that a family's honor is tied to a woman's chastity. A wide range of causes can trigger honor killing such as marital infidelity, premarital sex, having unapproved relationships, refusing an arranged marriage or even rape. In India, honor killings take place if a couple marries outside their caste or religion. Khap panchayats also oppose and mete out punishments to couples who marry within the same gotra, lineage, or transgress other societal norms. Danger of losing prestige and status in society. A person's ascribed status is more important than the achieved status. Another characteristic of honor killings is that the perpetrators often do not face negative stigma within their communities because their behavior is seen as justified. Need for comprehensive law. Honor killing violates Article 14, 15, 19, 21, 39F of the Constitution. According to National Crime Records Bureau (NCRB) figures released in 2018, a total of 28 cases in 2014, 251 cases in 2015 and 77 cases in 2016 were reported with motive as honor killing. In past 5 years in Rajasthan, 71 cases of illegal diktat given by Khap panchayats caste councils which function like kangaroo courts were registered and 10 cases of honor killing occurred in which 4 men and 8 women were killed. Honor killing cases have increased in the past few years and have become a hurdle in societal development. Sections of the IPC and the CRPC were not adequate in dealing with such cases. Such crimes are also in violation of the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which provide that women should have the right to freely choose a spouse. These actions of honor killing are also violative of certain fundamental rights in the Constitution of India, including the right to life and liberty, which includes the right to bodily integrity and the right to choose whom to associate with. Challenges to the law. The death penalty award for honor killing doesn't deter perpetrators as seen in previous instances. The existing penalty for the offense of murder is sufficient if they are implemented strictly and effectively. A new set of laws would not deter honor killings because the basic issue is social sanction for acts committed to curtail same-gotra marriage, inter-caste marriage, inter-religion marriage. Need for creating awareness among traditional communities through education. Holding Khap panchayats collectively accountable can be detrimental to members who do not support such killing. Also, it could be misused for vindictive agendas. Laws which exist to prevent such practices. Section 302 of IPC, perpetrators, family members and Khap panchayats can be punished under it. Special Marriage Act 1954, specially enacted to prevent atrocities arising out of marriages in India. Protection of Human Rights Amendment Act 2006 to protect individual and constitutional rights of citizens. Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 to protect against violence occurring within the family. Article 14, 15, 3, 19, 21. India has signed various international conventions like Human Rights, ICCPR, UNCEDAW. Way forward. Administrators must give full effect to the various preventive, remedial and punitive measures recommended by the Supreme Court. The Centre may also examine the need for a comprehensive law to curb killings in the name of honor and prohibit interference in matrimonial choice of individuals. Media play a more crucial role in expressing their views in the front of whole of society, without any fear. Even there is a right of freedom to express as also given in our constitution. It is necessary to improve sex ratio in the areas where females low in number and still practicing the female feticide like Haryana, Up, and Punjab. Literacy must be enhanced to curb this menace. The laws should be clear and issues related to the validity of the Khap Panchayat should be clear to people. There should be a provision of 1 or 2 women sitting in the Khap Panchayats so that equality right also follows. It is imperative for the state to focus on such programs and projects which help in gender equity. Conclusion. The Supreme Court, which has been intervening repeatedly to preserve the freedom of marital choice of individuals, once remarked that there is no honor in honor killing. Various judgments have highlighted the need to come down on such crimes, as well as the social structures that keep such a communal outlook alive. Topic: Women empowerment, gender issues, welfare schemes for vulnerable sections of the population by the center and states and the performance of these schemes, mechanisms, laws, institutions and bodies constituted for the protection and betterment of these vulnerable sections. 2. To ensure genuine gender equality, we need a fundamental reform of beliefs upheld by the institutions of family and faith. Analyze. 250 words. Live mint. Why this question? The article discusses the root cause of gender inequality in the world. Key demand of the question. One must discuss in detail the root causes of gender inequality. Directive. Analyze. When asked to analyze, you have to examine methodically the structure or nature of the topic by separating it into component parts and present them as a whole in a summary. Structure of the answer. Introduction. In brief, bring out the context of the question statement. Body. Explain why women are still being treated as unequal to men. Discussion should suggest the causes for such disparity and its existence even today. To ensure genuine gender equality, we need a fundamental reform of beliefs upheld by the institutions of family and faith. According to the World Employment and Social Outlook Trends for Women 2018 report, more women than ever before are both educated and participating in the labor market today. Even as opportunities for people without a college education shrink, men's rates of graduation remain relatively stagnant, while women across socioeconomic classes are increasingly enrolling for and completing post-secondary degrees. Explain why is it that women are still not accepted as equals although so many women are educated and entering the workforce in larger numbers. What are the significant forces that hinder our progress towards gender parity? Conclusion. Conclude with way ahead. Introduction. Gender equality is when women and men enjoy the same rights and opportunities across all sectors of society, including economic participation and decision making, and when the different behaviors, aspirations, and needs of women and men are equally valued and favored. Body. Factors leading to gender imparity. The unequal treatment of women by religion has exerted a very strong influence on every society's gender norms. All the key functions of organized religion, such as conducting religious ceremonies and heading the religious hierarchy, are reserved for men. No organized religion treats women equal to men. Countries where the majority of inhabitants have no religious affiliation display the lowest levels of gender inequality, and countries with the highest levels of gender inequality are those with high levels of religious affiliation. For millions of years, except in few matriarchal societies, the man has always been considered the head of the family. The provider role he played was always seen superior to the nurturer role that women played in a family. The man's decision was always the final word. Gender parity was not a norm in families across societies. Marriages in which the woman earned more were less likely in the first place and more likely to end in divorce. Women who out-earned their husbands were more likely to seek jobs beneath their potential and do significantly more housework and childcare than their husbands, perhaps to make their husbands feel less threatened. The norms in our families act as a huge deterrent to achieving gender parity. Stereotypical thinking and patriarchal mindset is the biggest challenge. Declining child sex ratio, CSR, the practice of gender-biased sex selection, and child marriage. Domestic violence against women is also high. Women being exposed to violence by their partners. Judicial remedies or police reforms, though absolutely necessary, are mostly curative rather than being preventive. Benefits like maternity leave or related facilities will not be accessible to her in the informal sector. Measures needed. We cannot achieve gender parity if religion, one of the strongest forces in most societies, continues to turn its back on women. The agenda of creating a planet 50-50 cannot come true if religion, religious leaders, and faith actors remain outside the conversation. Need to create avenues and opportunity with conscious effort for empowering women rather than giving freebies. Gender-neutral laws. Implementation to full potential of laws is the key. Infrastructure to be put in place and proper efforts to go ahead. Favoring women gives rise to inequality in society, so even men should be given avenues. Article 15 should be considered and positive discrimination should be there wherever needed. Conclusion. Achieving gender parity is not about organizing awareness programs and pasting a few posters in offices. It is all about fundamentally altering beliefs upheld by the two strongest institutions of any society, the family and religion. Topic: welfare schemes for vulnerable sections of the population by the center and states, and the performance of these schemes, mechanisms, laws, institutions and bodies constituted for the protection and betterment of these vulnerable sections. 3. Discuss the issue of child well-being in India. What are the challenges faced by the children and list down measures to ensure their well-being. 250 words. The Hindu. Why this question? Recently, the states of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh and Puducherry topped the charts in the Child Wellbeing Index, a tool designed to measure and track children's well-being comprehensively. Key demand of the question. One must discuss in detail the issue of child well-being in India and suggest suitable measures that need to be taken. Directive. Discussed. This is an all-encompassing directive. You have to debate on paper by going through the details of the issues concerned by examining each one of them. You have to give reasons for both for and against arguments. Structure of the answer. Introduction. Start by explaining that in India recently Child Wellbeing Index has been released by the non-government organization World Vision India and Research Institute IFMR lead body. Explain what is child well-being. In terms of health, it has to be ensured that the child is taken care of in the first 1000 days of life. Stunting is a big issue in India, and this is linked to poor sanitation and lack of safe water. States should look at their respective scores on the dimensions of child well-being and prepare for priority areas of intervention with specific plans of action. This should also trigger policy-level changes, seek better budgetary allocations, and initiate discussions with all stakeholders, which can help in enhancing the quality of life of all children in the country. Conclusion. Conclude with way forward. Introduction. The Child Wellbeing Index, released recently, is a tool designed to measure and track children's well-being through three dimensions of healthy individual development, positive relationships, and protective contexts. The report highlights the multi-dimensional approach towards measuring child well-being, going beyond mere income poverty. The NITI AAYOG cited the report as crucial and significant in securing the rights of children and achieving the goal of child well-being, using a composite child well-being index. Body. The index has been developed by NGOs World Vision India and IFMR Lead. Focusing on the three key dimensions, 24 indicators were selected to develop the computation of the Child Wellbeing Index. Key findings of the report. Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh and Puducherry topped the charts. Meghalaya, Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh featured at the bottom. The data shows that even states that are performing best in overall child well-being are not doing so well in indicators of health. Challenges faced. Health. Unequal sex ratio. Stunted underweight children, access to institutional delivery as low child survival rate, a higher number of children were dying before they turned 5 sanitation facilities. Immunization. Social. Incomplete schooling, since more children were dropping out of school. Budget for children. Gender gap in education for girls. Rights. Juvenile crimes and crimes against children, child marriage. Child labor, pornography, child adoption. Measures needed. Effective implementation of the laws and programs available in the country. There is a need for regionally targeted policy reorientation to better cater to children's needs. To ensure that India's future generation is physically healthy and mentally sound, states should look at their respective scores on the dimensions of child well-being and prepare for priority areas of intervention with specific plans of action. This should also trigger policy-level changes, seek better budgetary allocations and initiate discussions with all stakeholders, which can help in enhancing the quality of life of all children in the country. Conclusion. Children have the potential to transform the country, but if neglected, they will exacerbate the burden of poverty and inequality. It is imperative that all stakeholders prioritize and invest in the well-being of our children. Topic: Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development and employment. Inclusive growth and issues arising from it. 4. Discuss the key features of e-commerce presently witnessed in India. In what way do you think e-commerce 2.0 could significantly expand India's online market and make it truly inclusive? 250 words. Live Mint. Why this question? The article captures a discussion on e-commerce 2.0 and its significance. Key demand of the question. One must discuss in detail the coming of more and more people in terms of mobile usage and in what way it could significantly impact India's online market and make it inclusive. Directive. Discussed. This is an all-encompassing directive. You have to debate on paper by going through the details of the issues concerned by examining each one of them. You have to give reasons for both for and against arguments. Structure of the answer. Introduction. In brief, state facts to justify the rising online presence of the people online. Body. Explain that by 2022, 500 million Indians are expected to come online through their mobile phones, a population we refer to as India's next 500 million NHB. Their internet journey starts with them gaining internet access, then moving forward step by step to eventually making commercial transactions online. Briefly discuss the coming of e-commerce in the country, differentiate how e-commerce 1.0 is different from the upcoming e-commerce 2.0. Discuss the role played by it in expanding the Indian online markets. Conclusion. Conclude with significance. Introduction. Electronic commerce, e-commerce, is burgeoning as a means to doing business at a very rapid rate and is also showing every sign of continuing to expand. The rise of this new medium is attracting increasing attention by both private and public sector in order to remain upgraded and competitive so as to give 100% services to their customers efficiently and effectively. India's new e-commerce policy came into effect on February 1st, 2019. Body. Current e-commerce scenario in India. The existing customer base of e-commerce 1.0 is relatively small, about 40 to 50 million. Existing e-commerce platforms are better suited to sell structured and branded products, mostly electronics like mobile phones, televisions and air conditioners. They mainly appeal to relatively sophisticated shoppers for whom convenience and selection are important. Their English-first approach and user interfaces are constraints for the next half-billion segment. Moreover, the format does not enable an important mechanism for building trust, such as information on what others are doing on the platform. For sellers too, e-commerce is designed to cater to larger, organized players, whereas most sellers in India, even online, are small. Overall, online shopping is at present more about price discovery than product discovery. E-commerce has made important strides, but its penetration is still low in India. E-commerce 2.0 and its potential. E-commerce 2.0 will expand the market beyond the e-commerce 1.0. However, the new version will look, feel, and operate differently from the first wave of online shopping. It is expected by 2022, 500 million Indians are expected to come online through their mobile phones, a population we refer to as India's next 500 million NHB. The NHB differs considerably from the initial waves of internet users. They have very different income profiles, education levels, language skills, and social cultural milieus. In the last 18 to 24 months, there has been considerable progress in addressing various barriers they face in their internet journey, due to efforts by entrepreneurs and various government initiatives. Consequently, the NHB is now at an inflection point for online shopping. Vision of e-commerce 2.0. Value consciousness. E-commerce 2.0 will be dominated by smaller, unbranded items catering to value-conscious buyers. Trust and confidence. This is best built by social validation. To achieve this, e-commerce 2.0 players will leverage social communities and influences on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Resonance with the NHB context. Products will be pushed to users instead of being discovered through search. This replicates the NHB's offline shopping experience of being actively assisted and served by shop assistants on retail premises. The second wave of e-commerce could change the way Indians shop online, which will evolve from being a hobby to a habit. A significant rise in women shoppers in smaller cities is expected. Most importantly, e-commerce 2.0 could significantly expand India's online market and make it truly inclusive. Enablers of e-commerce 2.0: affordable data to access the various e-commerce websites and portals. Frugal innovation is helpful as well, with low-cost digital payment infrastructure as the prime example. Leveraging the communities on social media will help generate trust and confidence in the internet. Relatable language and creating inclusive user experiences such as mobile number-based logins, apart from simple navigation and purchase recommendations. Vernacular platforms and videos have recently emerged as the dominant mode of content consumption. Conclusion. E-commerce 2.0 will differ from its earlier version in many ways. It will be intent and impulse-driven, rather than being only intent-driven, make product discovery easier by offering a curated selection instead of a wide selection, focus on smaller and unbranded items instead of larger, branded ones, prioritize value over convenience, leverage influencers and social media, offer bulk buying for better pricing, use English and Indic languages with a user interface built for India, and use the viral nature of content and social media platforms to drive customer acquisition. Topic: Probity in governance. Concept of public service. Philosophical basis of governance and probity. Information sharing and transparency in government. Right to information. Codes of ethics. Codes of conduct. Citizens' charters. Work culture. Quality of service delivery. Utilization of public funds. Challenges of corruption. 5. Explain any 4 generally accepted probity principles that serve to maintain the integrity of the process. 250 words. Ethics by Lexicon Publications. Why this question? The question aims to discuss the probity principles that serve to maintain the integrity of the process. Key demand of the question. One must discuss in detail any 4 principles of probity. Directive. Explain, clarify the topic by giving a detailed account as to how and why it occurred, or what is the particular context. You must be defining key terms wherever appropriate and substantiate with relevant associated facts. Structure of the answer. Introduction. Define what is probity. Body. Explain that probity is the evidence of ethical behavior in a particular process. The term probity means integrity, uprightness, and honesty. For government employees and agencies, maintaining probity involves more than simply avoiding corrupt or dishonest conduct. It involves applying public sector values such as impartiality, accountability, and transparency. Explain principles. Accountability. It is the obligation to be able to explain or account for the way duties have been performed. Government should have appropriate mechanisms in place to show that they are accountable for their practices and decisions. Transparency. It is important that the process is transparent to the maximum extent possible so that all stakeholders can have confidence in the outcomes. Transparent, open processes also minimize the opportunity for and the risk of fraud and corruption. Confidentiality. As a condition of employment, all public servants are under a general obligation of confidentiality to their employer. All government advisors, members, and any other third party that is privy to commercially sensitive information must provide a formal undertaking to government that they will keep this information confidential. Management of conflicts of interest. A conflict of interest arises where an individual associated with the process is, through their particular associations or circumstances, influenced or perceived to be influenced to obtain an unfair advantage for him or herself or another party. Conclusion. Conclude with significance of probity in general. Introduction. Probity is the quality or condition of having strong moral principles, integrity, good character, honesty, decency. It is the act of adhering to the highest principles and ideals rather than avoiding corrupt or dishonest conduct. It balances service to the community against the self-interest of individuals. Body. Probity principles. Accountability is taking ownership for outcomes, successes or failures, while addressing performance issues fairly and promptly. The ability of citizens to demand accountability and more open government is fundamental to good governance. Accountability involves 3 key concepts. Transparency. Citizens have access to information about commitments that the state has made and whether it has met them. Example, Right to Information Act. Answerability. Citizens are able to demand that the state justifies its enforceability. Citizens are able to sanction the state if it fails to meet certain standards. Managing the conflict of interest. A conflict of interest involves a conflict between the public duty and private interests of a public official, in which the public official has private capacity interests which could improperly influence the performance of their official duties and responsibilities. Handling the conflict of interest involves the following. Transparency. Declaring one's conflict of interest to the concerned authorities is the best way. It helps civil servant to come clean and concerned authorities can decide further. Assure integrity. The concerned authority should be assured of integrity and willingness to serve no matter what the decision is made on the declaration. Maintain objectivity. If given the chance to continue working on that case, work with objectivity. Conclusion. According to Second Administrative Reforms Commission, apart from the traditional civil service values of efficiency, integrity, accountability, and patriotism, it is necessary for civil servants to inculcate and adopt ethical and moral values including probity in public life, respect for human rights and compassion for the downtrodden and commitment to their welfare. Probity in governance is the antithesis of corruption in public life. Probity is emphasized by the UN Convention Against Corruption. Probity is the evidence of ethical behavior in a particular process. For government employees and agencies, maintaining probity involves more than simply avoiding corrupt or dishonest conduct. It involves applying public sector values such as impartiality, accountability, and transparency. Topic: Probity in governance. Concept of public service. Philosophical basis of governance and probity. Information sharing and transparency in government. Right to information. Codes of ethics. Codes of conduct. Citizens' charters. Work culture. Quality of service delivery. Utilization of public funds. Challenges of corruption. 7. What are professional codes of ethics? Discuss the relevance of it in public services. 250 words. Ethics by Lexicon Publications. Why this question? The question is based on the theme of professional code of ethics and its relevance to public services. Key demand of the question. One must discuss in detail the significance of professional code of ethics. Directive. Discussed. This is an all-encompassing directive. You have to debate on paper by going through the details of the issues concerned by examining each one of them. You have to give reasons for both for and against arguments. Structure of the answer. Introduction. In brief, explain what are ethics. Body. Code of ethics and professional conduct outlines the ethical principles that govern decisions and behavior at a company or organization. They give general outlines of how employees should behave, as well as specific guidance for handling issues like harassment, safety, and conflicts of interest. Use suitable examples and justify in what way ethics are significant to the professional aspects, even in civil services for that matter. Conclusion. Conclude with significance of holding on to professional ethics. Introduction. Professional Code of Ethics is a written set of rules issued by an organization to its workforces and management to help them conduct their actions in accordance with its primary values and ethical standards based on the nature of job or profession. Body. Relevance of Code of Ethics. Code of Ethics defines the minimum requirements for conduct and behavioral expectations instead of specific activities. Example: if an organization is committed to protecting the environment and being green, the Code of Ethics will state that there is an expectation for any employee faced with a problem to choose the most green solution. When faced with ethical dilemmas or debatable situations, what's articulated in the Code of Ethics can help guide decision making. Sets benchmark for appropriate behavior. Provides a framework for reference in case discretionary powers are to be used. Code of Ethics regulates the judgment of the organization and is publicly available. The relevance is more in present society where values and ethics are on decline, either seemingly because of greater awareness or in reality. Code of Ethics acts as a moral compass during decision making. Huge prevalence of corruption and lack of probity in public life can be reduced. Officials taking prejudiced decisions or favoring an ideology while discharging official duties will affect the socio-economic justice as envisaged by our Constitution. It increases the accountability and transparency of the officers and politicians in their work. Helps to curb the politician-bureaucrat nexus which leads to favoritism, crony capitalism, conflicts of interest. Way forward. The Second Administrative Reforms Commission (ARC) had proposed the inclusion of a public service code in the draft Public Service Bill 2007. The Commission outlines the desirable qualities that make the civil services efficient. They include impartiality, integrity, dedication to public service, political neutrality, adherence to the highest standards of probity, objectivity, empathy for the weaker section of the public. It highlighted that efforts made by individuals in leadership positions in organization to inculcate these values within the organization can make a difference. The Public Service Code would facilitate the employees to discharge their official duties with competence and accountability, care and diligence, honesty, without discrimination and in accordance with law. The statutory backing through civil services bill to the Code of Ethics would guide the civil servants towards behaviors, choices and actions that benefit the community. Conclusion. In a democracy, all persons holding authority derive it from the people. All public functionaries are trustees of the people. Thus, a code of ethics must be present, however, the legal enforcement is a topic which must be well deliberated before implementation.